Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and I was always told how to voice radio, so today I am showing you a new card, which in my own delicate way, I can only describe as nuts good. Because it's nuts good. It's called Counter Game. It was revealed and translated by the lovely David Hochmann over at RappelmannTCG, still one of my favourite people in the Pokemon community, and only growing his resume by the day. And it's nuts good. It reads, if you have more prize cards remaining than your opponent, the Pokemon to which this card is attached pays one less colourless energy for its attacks. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is Dimension Valley as a tool for any type of Pokemon. Let that sink in for a moment. Now, we have had cards kind of like this in the past. Energy Gain was very, very similar to this. Well, it was exactly the same, in fact. It was a tool that reduced cost by 1 colourless energy, but it was only for SP Pokemon. And SP Pokemon like Garchomp and Luxray were over the top good, and a large part of their success was the fact that there were a whole bunch of Pokemon like Garchomp and Luxray that would just attach this and a single energy and then be able to pull off really quite good attacks. There was Dimension Valley that I mentioned previously, which is so good in any Psychic deck in Expanded. Think Pumpkaboo in Night March, think Necrozma, whose GX attack becomes a double colourless energy as long as Dimension Valley is on the field. And just the other day we looked at Thunder Mountain, a Prism Star Stadium that reduces the attack cost of Lightning Pokemon by one Lightning, not one colourless. But we'll get to that in a moment. And to be perfectly blunt, this is great in everything. Zoroark GX can now attack for a single colourless energy. Rayquaza GX, and I've made no secret of my love for Rayquaza GX. Now, the attack cost for Rayquaza is 1 colourless, 1 lightning, 1 grass, and it does 30 damage for each lightning and grass basic on your field. This is amazing because it means you've only got 2 energy on your active Rayquaza, which means when that Rayquaza goes down, you only lose 2 energy rather than 3. And since you're doing 30 damage for each energy on the field, on your side of the field, grass and lightning basic only, that means that you're only losing 60 damage for next turn, not 90. So even in something like Rayquaza, this would be amazing. Tapu Bulu doesn't need that 3rd energy for Nature's Judgment. So if you use a Vikavolt to accelerate energy here, you've got this going in a single turn without putting down the 3rd energy, which means that you get to attach that energy to another Tapu Bulu somewhere else. Now, we're going to get back to this in a minute, but you do lose Choice Band here, which is going to be needed for some KOs. So a Tapu Bulu with this rather than a Choice Band could still get a KO on a Tapu Lele, but would not be able to get a KO on a Buzzwole GX, for instance. Now, I could keep going and going and going and going and going, but I will give you one more example. Noivern GX can now use Distort for 1 energy. Yeah, 1 darkness energy, Distort, 50 damage, and it item locks your opponents. Now remember, this is only if you are behind on prizes. If you are drawing or ahead on prizes, you can't use this. But if you're behind on prizes, all of these Pokemon just get so much better. Double Dragon Energy being rotated basically stops Noivern being good. It's still good in Japan. I did a video the other day. I'll try and remember to pop a link in the description. Well, great news, ladies and gentlemen. It could be coming back because this is that gosh darned good. And yes, I have double checked with David. This definitely can be used for GX Pokemon. It's not like Counter Energy. It is for GX and non-GX. Speaking of which, this actually combines really nicely with Counter Energy. So just yesterday or the day before, I showed you a white Kyurem, and I said I love the attack, because it does 160 essentially, but you need a Counter Energy and another energy, and I said that's just a little bit awkward. Well, now you get to actually do it for just a Counter Energy, though you do lose Choice Band. We'll come back to that in a moment. And the great news is this can actually replace Counter Energy in a bunch of stuff. So Sudowoodo from Breakpoint is rotating, but still, it serves as a nice example for the time being, can now, for 1 fighting energy, go ahead and use its attack. And that's actually really good for 2 reasons. First of all, it means you don't have to play counter energy, so you can use more basic energy, stuff like Max Elixir, which is also rotating, but let's be clear, counter gain is going to make its way into expanded as well. This isn't just going to be for standard format. I mean, in expanded, when you've got Skyfield and Zoroark, imagine being able to do the attack for 1 colorless energy. Yeah, pretty gosh darn good, just in case Zoroark needed any more tricks. Back to Sudowoodo, 1 fighting energy, really nice for this, because it means you don't have to play counter energy. If you want a more recent example, how about the Lycanroc from Forbidden Light, which at the moment seems like the best new alternative to it post-rotation. Dangerous Rogue for 1 fighting energy. It is great. And I have to give a very quick shout out here to my boy Empoleon, who can now use Total Command for 1 water energy. That's so good! Now, as a side note, it won't really work with stuff like Gardevoir. Gardevoir does more damage for each energy you've got attached to your Pokemon. This reduces the cost by 1, but it doesn't count as an energy, so it wouldn't mean that Gardevoir does extra damage. You could use it with Tapu Lele, and then you would attack for just 1 colorless energy, but you'd be doing a base 20, not 40. I know I mentioned Rayquaza GX earlier, but the thing about Rayquaza is, it means you've only got 2 energy on the active that you're losing when Rayquaza gets KO'd, rather than 3, and that's why I like it with Rayquaza. But just in case this wasn't good enough, let's combine it with Thunder Mountain. When you combine this with Thunder Mountain, it gets dumb. Because now, Lightning Pokemon have their attack cost reduced by a Lightning and a Colorless. Now, admittedly, you've got to be behind on prizes and have the tool, and admittedly, you've got to have your once per game Prism Star Stadium down. Even with all that borne in mind, it's over the top good. Hey, you know that Zera Aura that's coming out that can do 160 damage? For 1 basic lightning energy? What's that you're saying? Yes, but it can't use Choice Band. Yeah. But it can use Electro Power, which means that you do an extra 30 damage with all of your attacks, meaning you don't need Choice Band. How about Raichu that can also now do 160 for 1 lightning energy? How about Tapu Koko's GX attack, 50 damage for every energy attached to your opponent's Pokemon for 1 lightning energy? Even a Alolan Golem GX now can attack for 2 lightning, making it far more reliable. Zekrom GX, that when I looked at the other day, I'll try and remember to pop a link in the description, I said was way too expensive, now becomes much more reasonable. But one I really like here, the Alolan Golem from Guardians Rising. Because now, Thunder Mountain, Counter Gain, and you're doing 200 damage with Heavy Slam. Well, up to 200 damage, for either a counter energy or even just a double colorless energy. The only decks that aren't going to like this are decks that do not have colorless in their attack cost. So a Buzzwole GX does not care about this. Lapras, okay, the GX attack has a colorless, but it still doesn't really care. Volcanion Prism Star doesn't care. But for anything else, I'm not saying you have to play it, but I am definitely saying you have to consider it. It's that gosh darn good. Now, of course, you've got to give up Choice Band to use it. And that is going to be the biggest issue for most decks, because you lose that extra damage. Something like a Zera Aura now hits 160, not 190, and doesn't KO a Buzzwole. Of course, that's a lightning Pokemon, so it has Electro Power. Other types won't be quite as lucky, which could be an issue. Now, what you could do is you'd Field Blower to switch between them, but that's a little bit awkward. But to be perfectly honest, no. The other potential downside here is that if you then end up drawing on prizes or ahead, you then won't have enough energy on there to attack. But that's fine. You need free energy, you attach 2 energy and counter gain. You then end up drawing on prizes, so next turn you attach the 3rd energy and you're off and rolling. Essentially, this is loaning you an energy for a turn. That is absolutely fine by me. Now, you do have to be behind on prizes, and Countercatcher has still seen a lot less play than I expected, although Countercatcher has seen a bit of play. But anytime we've had this in the past with Energy Gain and Dimension Valley, it's not just been good, it's been over the top phenomenal good. And everyone's going to be behind on prizes at some point, and when you are, this is going to give you an extra energy attachment. We love attaching extra energy. Malamar decks are good right now. We're all still trying to use Vikavolt, myself included, even though it's a stage 2. Attaching extra energy is good, and this is just cheating. Because you don't even need to get the energy, just the tool, and this will count as an energy. There is absolutely no debate, question, or doubt in my mind. This is a slam dunk 5 Wassy card if ever I saw one. I expect this to see a great amount of play. Now, Choice Band is going to hurt it, because there are still going to be plenty of times we want the extra damage with Choice Band. But there should be a rotation, probably in September 2019, where we lose Choice Band but keep this card, unless we get a reprint, which we might. In which case, this just becomes the best tool in the format. Either way, it's a 5 Wassy card, and if you really want to sway my opinion, you can do so in the comment section, but good luck, it won't be easy. But I do want to know, and I've got one question I really want everyone listening to answer right now. Which card do you most want to use this with? Let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, be nice. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all of that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do just that. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.